Mindfulness in Ministry Masterclass. What's on your mind? Reacting versus generating. People's behaviors are always consistent with the way they see themselves in the context in which they find themselves. Being in reaction is the way we are because of the circumstances. Who we are determines the actions we take, which in turn determine the results we get. We are because of something. We are wired to be reactive. We are in reaction most of the time without being aware of it. It is human to react. Reactive. Being generative is the way we are despite the circumstances. We are despite something. To shift behavior, one therefore has to shift how one perceives the world and one's self in that world. Generative. Being generative requires awareness, conscious intent. It takes mindfulness to become aware of what is required in a given state and to become that. Above the line. Below the line. 90% of moving from below the line to above the line is self-awareness, or as we like to call it, mindfulness. It is important to surround ourselves with authentic people who will be unafraid to give us honest feedback and our own willingness to receive it to master our response. Reacting versus generating. What's on your mind? Generative. The way we are despite the circumstances. Reactive. The way we are because of the circumstances. Good morning, and welcome to another lecture, our third lecture in this course, Learn Your Ideal Customer. I am Coach Raquel, and on behalf of my co-instructor and instructor, Minister Merritt, and I, welcome to this session. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for choosing our course, and we hope it's been going amazing for you so far. And by amazing, I mean I hope that you've been challenged to your current lifestyle has been challenged, your current mindset has been challenged. I hope you're uncomfortable. I hope you're feeling very uncomfortable. I hope you're feeling like, what am I doing now? I hope you're having a lot of questions. I hope you're unclear about where you're heading. I hope you're beginning to not have the answers, because that's the process that this course is supposed to take you through. Trust your process. And when you know, that's when you should worry. When you have all the answers is when you should be concerned. When you don't have the answers, that's when you should be joyful, because it means that you're being propelled into the unknown, into a future, right? Into a new space, a new paradigm. And that is an absolutely good thing. You don't need to know everything. If you know everything, then you aren't growing. And we need you to be growing. We need you to grow. So this session is about reacting versus generating, or what we like to call above or below the line. Where do you reside? Above or below the line? Are you in a constant state of reactive, or are you in a state of generating and creating possibilities and providing solutions rather than constantly expecting someone else responding or reacting to what is happening to you in your world? Are you stuck in your story? Are you stuck in your story? State the facts. State the facts, don't live in your story. How we show up in the world. Have you ever been having conversations with someone and they say something and you challenge it and they paraphrase that and say it back to you? I have that experience all the time. They're saying something and when you call them out on it, they say, oh no, that's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. But then it's the same thing. When you call them out on that again, they say, no, that's not what I'm saying. And sometimes if you find yourself, because I've found myself where I say, okay, oh, that's what you're saying. When the truth is, I was being dishonest. I just was trying to move on. You didn't say anything different, because it's a challenge to be authentic, you see. It takes inner strength to be authentic. And especially if you're someone like me who's a coach, I'm a coach, so I tend to be about the future. My past doesn't interest me. The present doesn't entertain me. Future is where my mind is all the time. And that's where I want my mind to be. And I understand because it's purpose, but I also understand that everyone else does not have that purpose. So because it doesn't mean present and past isn't important. They are. But make sure it's your purpose and not just your state of mind. Because a lot of persons are thinking, oh, maybe this is my purpose. Make sure it is your purpose and not just your state of mind. If the past and the present is just your state of mind, if being reactive is just your state of mind, that's a problem. That's a problem, right? So people's behaviors are always consistent with the way they see themselves and the context in which they find themselves. In fact, who we are determines the actions we take, which in turn determine the results we get. If one perceives their context as non-threatening and considers him or herself as brave, then one will be inclined to take brave action. To be brave and to take action. If one perceives their context as dangerous and him or herself as timid, then one will be inclined to take more cautious actions. These actions, based on one's perception of the world and him or herself within that world, will ultimately lead to significantly different results. However, it is important to keep in mind that these are only perceptions based on experiences from our past, and while they may feel real, they remain perceptions nonetheless. To shift behavior, one therefore has to shift how one perceives the world and one's self in that world. When we come to understand that our actions in the present are driven by who we are and how we see the world, and those perceptions are created from past experience and not in a future context, we are then able to begin making a shift in being toward creating a new future that is different from our past and will generate new and different results. From the 3 circles, or the course our last session, which is recognizing our conversations in time, from that model, we know that who we are determines the actions we take, which in turn determines the result we get. There are only 2 ways of being in the world. The first is to be in reaction. Being in reaction is the way we are because of the circumstances. We are because of something. We are angry because somebody lied to us. We are hungry because we haven't eaten. We are happy because someone bought us a present. As human beings, we are wired to be reactive. In fact, we are in reaction most of the time. It's like breathing. We're there without even being aware of it. It is human to react, and in many cases, it can be quite appropriate. However, in many instances, because of our lack of awareness, we become a victim of the circumstances. When we want to play a leadership role, we cannot allow ourselves to be driven by the circumstances. We often find ourselves in situations where we need to influence situations despite their circumstances. Simply because something is difficult, for example, we cannot become discouraged. We need to demonstrate a non-reactive way of being in order to motivate and influence. The alternative is a generative way of being. Being generative is the way we are despite the circumstances. We are despite something. We are forgiving despite the fact that someone stole from us. We are compassionate despite the fact that we were disobeyed. We are calm because the chaos that we are calm despite the chaos that surrounds us. Being generative. It is important to remember that it is not bad to be in reaction or go below the line. It is human to do so, and we will continue to do so. However, when we want to demonstrate a leadership role, or when we desire to establish a brand, or when we desire to engage clients and stakeholders, and we want to build a business that will grow and advance, it is important not to stay there, right? And you'll find that even your customers, your stakeholders sometimes are there. And sometimes the fight that you fight in your business is not even the fight to succeed or to win. It's the people that surround you who sometimes are below the line. And you have to remember, and you have to sometimes be that leader, be the person to pull them from there, or to inspire them from there, or to motivate them to go from there. But you have to make sure that on your team, you have a team of people, of enough people who are above the line, who are able to lead. Because when we talk about leadership, people only focus on a position. Leadership isn't a position. A leader is someone who brings into existence something that doesn't exist before. A leader is someone who is conscious of how they're showing up. A leader is someone who comes up, who creates possibilities and opportunities, not someone who is relying on someone else to provide them with their solutions. No, a leader is someone who finds it, who creates it, who generates it. You know what I mean? Based on what their purpose is. So you need to be conscious of when you're attracting clients, because remember now, clients are not just people you serve. They're partners. They're part of your network. They are the ones who are going to determine whether or not your brand succeed. So your partners are key stakeholders, and then your customers are key stakeholders, and then you have partners who are going to be working with you and helping you to fulfill the needs of your customers. And those people too, you will also need to make sure that you have sufficient leadership within that group as well. You know what I mean? It's very, very important for the success of your business. If you have a business and it isn't growing, chances are, you need to check the people in your network. You know what I mean? So, okay, it is important to remember, right, that it's not bad to be in reaction mode. It is human. It is human. We must become proficient at transforming our way of being from one of reaction into one of generation, or in other words, moving from below to above the line. 90% of moving from below the line to above the line is self-awareness. Unless we know where we are, then we have no ability to navigate to where we need or want to be. Have you ever been talking to someone and you're expressing to them what they're saying to you, but they're saying, oh, no, that's not. They're saying no before they even hear what you're saying. But that's my own thoughts and experience, though. You can't negate that, because they're not in the consciousness of, or the consciousness of the fact that they're not being open. When someone says something to you and the first thing you're saying is no, when you're saying no, when you haven't even really fully heard the person, you don't even know what the person's talking about. You're not even in the awareness that this person is not defining you. This person is telling you of their experience. Then it means you're not open. And sometimes we're not willing to become open either. We tell ourselves we are, but we're not, because our speech acts does not demonstrate that we are open. Because openness means that I am willing to listen, to hear you, and say, that could be a possibility. How do I, even if I don't think that's who I am, because who you believe you are and who you're showing up to be are two completely different things. Right? Two completely different things. Because who you're being is how you're responding to your world. Who you think you are is your own concept, self-concept. Two completely different things, right? Okay. Unless we know where we are, then we have no ability to navigate to where we need or want to be. And it's important who you have in your life and who you allow to speak into your life, and who you're willing to listen to. Who are you willing to listen to? To become more self-aware, it is important to surround ourselves with people who can give us honest feedback, and for us to be open to receiving that feedback. Coaches, mentors, friends, colleagues, bosses, subordinates, community members, family members can all do this. Another way to become self-aware is to journal, meditate, self-observe, and even complete various self-assessments to provide us with insight into our personality and styles. Self-awareness is a lifetime process. It's one of the most amazing, it's one of the best gifts you could ever give yourself. It's self-awareness. The self-awareness wheel is something that I literally use, and I use it to assess myself and to check myself, to find to check my authenticity level. Right? I always use that. And even in conversations, I'm literally going through my self-assessment wheel. We did that in the course, Learn Purpose for Ministry. Learn Purpose for Ministry. It's in that course that we did. Is that what it's called? Learn Purpose for Ministry. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's the name of the course. But check on our Mindfulness in Ministry Udemy account, and you'll see the correct name. Just in case that's not it, I apologize. Or you can go to our website, www.mycoachministry.com. And another way to become self-aware is to journal, right? We spoke about that. Meditate, self-observe, and even complete various self-assessments to provide us with insight into our personality and styles. These are things I have to continuously do because to maintain and to be the best coach I can be. So it's good for you to do those things as well. Self-awareness is a lifetime process. The more self-aware we become, the more precisely we will understand who we are and how we react in a range of situations. Once we are aware that we are in reaction, we can then choose whether we need to stay there, or whether we need to bring another generative, that is, way of being to bear. The other 10% of moving from below to above the line is to stay true to our word, or be authentic to our A, right? To be authentic, to be who you truly are. In other words, reconnect with the vision and commitment of who we declared ourselves to be as a person or leader, and to function from that way of being. So there are times when I want to be below the line. In my personal life, like something may be happening, or I'm having a bad day, and today I just decide, you know what? I'm going to feel what I feel today. Today I feel sad, I'm going to feel sad. I'm not going to push myself to become happy or to become positive, because today but I'm making a decision. It's not just happening to me. I'm recognizing who I am, where I am, how I'm showing up, and I'm deciding that I want to be there right now, because that is what I need right now to replenish myself. So it's not that being human is a terrible thing. You are naturally human. That's not something you can ever change, right? So you can be reactive. It's human to be reactive. It's okay. But make sure whatever state you're in is the state you desire to be in. Because this is it, right? And not just the state you desire to be in, but the state you are consciously choosing to be in. Because I always say this, we're always doing what we want to do. Always. The people around you, the person who you've been trying to convince to do something with you, is doing what they want to do, no matter what they're telling you. It doesn't matter what reason, story, excuse, explanation they give you. They are currently doing what they want to do. Whether or not they are conscious of that is another matter, because sometimes we're not conscious of it. We're on such autopilot that we're not really in the consciousness of the choice we're making, but we are making a choice, right? People are always showing up who they are and doing what they want to do. And I always say this too, people are always doing their best. They're always performing at their best. So as you go and seek to learn and discover your customer, try not to, this is not a process where you're going to fit someone into a mold. Okay, so John Brown over there, that person is my customer. That's somebody I want to serve. That's someone I think I can serve. So now you're going to makeshift everything around that person. No, do not approach your research that way, your case study that way. Be open to letting a person go. Be open to saying, to learning that, you know what? This person may not be a customer, or this person may not be a stakeholder, or this person may not be a partner. If they are not at a place where they're willing to come above the line. And then there's some persons who you want to remain below the line so you can have a job. Right? Because them being below the line is why you have a brand that's going to thrive, because you're serving that. You're serving that, because there's some persons who just, it's like that. It's like a medical doctor, right? They cure the sick, right? And so you have some persons who are sick for a very long time, and so that doctor has a client for a very long time too. So appreciate people where they are. And one of the things that Minister Merritt would always say is, learn who people are and where they fit. Don't force a square peg in a round hole. Learn who people are and learn why they are in your life and where in your purpose they fit. And leverage that. Do not try to force them to become something they are not. And you make sure you are being intentional, and whenever you're below the line, make sure that's where you want to be, and make sure that being below the line is not where you reside or you stay for too long, but that you if you have to take a day or two, a week, a vacation, do that, but don't live below the line. Come right back above the line, because your brand needs you above the line. Thank you so much for attending this live session today. Thank you for choosing our course. I am Coach Raquel, and on behalf of my co-instructor, Minister Merritt, and I, thank you so much for choosing Mindfulness in Ministry Masterclass. Have the most phenomenal day and go be great.